All right, so now we are going to go over text files, and specifically we're going to read text files using a scanner class. All right, so that's what we're going to cover in this video, and to start off, we're just going to talk about exactly how we set that up with our code. So what we're doing here is we're going to set up a new scanner. Set up a new scanner using the scanner object, and I'm just going to call it scan, and we're going to use that new keyword again, and it's going to be a scanner because that's the type of object that we have, right? And in here, we're going to put in something specific because we're working with files. We're going to put in a file input stream. That shouldn't be too much of a shock that that's the name considering our last video. And then in here, inside of what we're going to put here, and actually we do need the new keyword in here. I did miss that. There should be a new keyword in there. We're going to have a file input stream, and we're just going to have our file name. I'm going to do input.txt. Now, we're going to assume that I have a file named input.txt somewhere in my system that it's going to be picking up here. This is just an example of how we're going to do this. Now, just like before, we don't want to do this exactly. What we're going to do instead is we're going to do a try-catch block so that we can make sure that we're opening up this file. So instead of all of this, just how it is, we're going to do this. Let me go ahead and get all of this so I don't have to rewrite it. We're going to take all of this. We're going to cut that. We're going to, actually, no, undo. We are going to take all of this. We're going to move it down here. If I can actually make that work, we're going to move it down here. All right, so that we're doing this inside of that block. And up here, we're just going to say, back where we took that from, we're just going to say scanner, scan is equal to null. So we're going to initialize it to null. And then we have the try for the try catch block. We have trying to instantiate that scanner. We're going to close that up, and then we're going to catch. And we're going to catch the same thing that we did last time, which is that file not found. Nope. We're going to need to move this a little bit. That file not found exception. All right, and again, we're just going to call that E because I'm boring and I like the letter E for my exceptions. So then in our catch here, we're just going to do the whatever we want to do to handle it. So in this case, we're just going to say system.out.println, and then we're just going to do, we're going to say we want the message, so e.message. We just want to print that out because we want to know what's going on. All right, and then because we couldn't open it up, and our program here is all about being able to read that file, we're just going to go ahead and exit because we don't have anything else we want to do. All right, so that's basically what we do in order to read from, to open up a file to read from. Now, the next thing we do is the same thing we would do if we were using system.in. So this looks very similar to what we do if we wanted a scanner for our keyboard, right? So if we wanted the keyboard input from console, right? What we normally do is we do scanner. Ooh, we do scanner, and we often call it keyboard, right? And we do new scanner, and then inside of there we put the system.in. Now that works because system.in here is its own stream. It's its own data stream. And what we're doing here is we're creating a data stream from a file. So that's why we have to do that new file input stream object, is because we're creating an input stream. And it's the same reason why in the other one, we, instead of just doing system.out, we have to do that file output stream to make sure that it is creating that output stream for us to use within the object we are using. So here we're going to go back down and we're going to talk about how we actually read. It's very, very similar to using that keyboard scanner we were using before. So it's just going to be like if we want to get the next line, we just say, for example, if we say this is a string and this is a line, like we're just going to call it a line, we're going to get scan dot next line. Now, most of the time when you're doing something with a scanner like this, you're doing something with your input stream, you're probably going to be using a try catch a lot to make sure that you are getting the data and that you're not missing the data, like you're not hitting the end of file before you're getting to the end of reading your file. And I'm just going to check my notes here, make sure there's nothing else that we want to make sure we're doing. The only other thing that you're going to want to make sure to do after you're done using this is you do want to close it, just like we need to close it if we're using it with the keyboard, which is that scan.close. This is best practices. You should close it as soon as you're done using it, as this frees up memory and resources for the rest of your program. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is using that buffered reader. Buffered reader comes in on page 603, so we're going to talk about that in the next video.